Old man, are you messing with me by driving me down the mountain now? If you had the guts, you wouldn't have picked me up over 20 years ago. In Peach Blossom Village, Otto said angrily to the white-bearded Franklin in front of him. Did you pick me up just so this immoral creature could harass the little girls in the village every day and climb the wall at night to watch young widows take baths? But I don't care. You picked me up. You should raise me and take care of me until my last day. Otto acted as if he was the biggest boss after heaven and earth. What? The Franklin's eyebrows twitched immediately, waving his hand, and Otto flew into the air. Without panic, Otto somersaulted a few times in the air and landed steadily on the ground. Old man, are you trying to monopolize the young widows of Peach Blossom Village? Get lost. If you don't, I will kill myself. Just joking. Can't you take a joke? Don't you see that I can't bear to leave you? He had been following the Franklin since he could remember. The Franklin told him that he picked him up from Jiangzhou over 20 years ago. He was still in swaddling clothes, covered in blood, with only a dragon-shaped jade pendant on him, so he named him Otto. Over the past 20 years, through harsh winter and scorching summer, he trained tirelessly. The Franklin's incredible skills were completely learned by Otto, from medicine to geomancy, fortune-telling, and physiognomy, all of which he mastered impeccably. Now, Otto surpassed his master even more. The Franklin knew long ago. For the past 2 years he couldn't defeat this boy anymore. Jethro, from today onwards, you go down the mountain. Your medical skills need experience. I have found you a job at the Jiangzhou hospital. Also, be careful because of your special constitution. Otherwise, you will die an awful death. Lastly, remember to complete the Xintian map. Completing it will greatly benefit you, and it concerns your origin. Understand? I understand. You've said it 800 times. Kalence, I can remember. I have heard it enough that my ears are calloused. Otto said with disdain. Whether or not indulgence is mentioned, did you arrange any marriage pact for me? I don't ask for much. A CEO would do, or a family's young miss, or even being a son-in-law would also be fine. The Franklin laughed and scolded. Stinking kid, there is no marriage pact, but I have arranged a blind date for you. It's on November 11th, at some corner cafe in Jiangzhou. Hold a copy of Good Prescription for Women. Whether you can succeed or not depends on your ability. Watching Otto's departing figure, the Franklin's face showed melancholy. Otto was destined for solitude, marked by Pujun's characteristics. For these 20 years, he had meticulously cultivated Otto. Whether he could change his fate depended on his own luck. Be it dragon or worm, one must try. Is a gold scale a pond fish, meeting the storm and clouds turning into a dragon. Having delayed for 20 years, it's time for me to go too. Once I leave, if I cannot return, then never return. On the high-speed train bound for Jiangzhou, Otto closed his eyes to rest, seeming like he was sleeping. Actually, he was practicing the Xintian map record personally taught by the Franklin, allegedly inherited from the ancient mystic sect. This book contained everything about mountains, medicine, stars, and divination. And the cultivation method of the Xintian map record, the Xintian decree, was the foundation of it all. While practicing, Otto paused, feeling a bit sentimental. Outside of Peach Blossom Village, the spiritual energy between heaven and earth was far too thin. When would he finally achieve greatness? Attention passengers, a passenger in carriage number 7 has suddenly fallen ill. Medical personnel on board, please contact the carriage attendant. The announcement repeated 3 times. Otto opened his eyes, curious, and even more eager. In Peach Blossom Village, besides examining breasts, palpating stomachs for minor illnesses, or exchanging tips on how to scrub one's back clean, occasionally, he would be warmly invited by the village widows to their homes to discuss the origin of life. Although every time, the old man would rudely disrupt them. But Otto knew well that the old man was honing his willpower and training his mindset. Hardly raising such a handsome child, they couldn't be lured by the glamorous women outside. Hearing the announcement, Otto felt his heart itching. Carriage number 7, right behind him, standing up and turning around, he indeed saw many people standing up, gathering in the corridor. Make way, the doctor is here. People parted, and Otto followed the crowd inside. Beside him, a doctor around 50 years old, dressed in a suit and tie, wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, looked extraordinary. A Janet in her 20s lay unconscious in the corridor, dressed in an extremely sexy manner. She wore a black low-cut blazer with a bustier underneath, creating an unfathomable cleavage even while lying down. Beneath her tight-fitting skirt, she had on black stockings, and her legs were curled up towards Otto's side, making the men around her stare intently at the tantalizing sight. The girl's face was deathly pale, her jaw tightly clenched as if she were already dead. Otto's gaze immediately fixed on the woman's chest and abdomen. No movement. His expression hardened as he focused on her nostrils, which also showed no sign of breathing. Was this cardiac arrest leading to pseudo-death? Just as Otto made his diagnosis, the doctor who had rushed over examined her and announced his conclusion. Acute myocardial infarction. Everyone, please step aside. Clear enough space to keep the air circulating. Is there anyone trained in medicine? Come help and prepare for CPR. At this point, the man turned to the train conductor. Conductor, there are no medications on board. We can do little here. How far is it to Jiangzhou? The conductor raised his wrist and said seriously, 30 minutes. Too late. The doctor shook his head immediately. This is sudden cardiac arrest leading to shock. She has no heartbeat or breathing now. The golden rescue time is only 3 minutes. It's too late. Hearing the doctor's words, Otto couldn't help but laugh. Was this the level of medical skill? If that's the case, he didn't seem to need to go to Jiangzhou Hospital as an intern. What are you laughing at? My master knows what he's talking about, a young man immediately interjected. My master is Director Kevin of the Emergency Department at Jiangzhou Hospital. Are you saying you know better? I'm laughing because your master isn't exactly on top of things. He correctly identified it as heart disease, but not myocardial infarction. If you follow his CPR plan now, you'll be wasting a life. Philippe, hurry over. Prepare for artificial respiration and CPR. Kevin ignored Otto and shouted at the young man beside him. Right then, a voice from behind the crowd said, Xiao Zhou, hold on. Let me take a look. Chapter 2. This isn't the right way to save someone. The sudden voice immediately made Kevin's expression turn serious, and his brows furrowed. Who was this person that dared to call him Xiao Zhou so presumptuously? As the crowd parted, when Kevin saw the newcomer, his face changed instantly, replaced with respect and reverence. Old Clarence. A few passengers on the bus who understood what was happening were startled upon seeing this white-haired old man. Damn, it's Jiangzhou's miracle worker Daon. I finally get to see a living legend. Is he the one everyone in Jiangzhou talks about, whose appointment you need to queue for a year? That's right, he's the one. I've read introductions about him online. This girl must have a destiny to live. Not only is the head of the emergency department from Jiangzhou Hospital here, but also the great Dr. Clarence. I went to visit a few old friends, and unexpectedly got to return on the same bus as Crane. Dayon replied. Then he walked next to the girl, squatted down, and gently pressed her pulse at Kunku. After a short while, Dayon spoke up. Xiao Zhou, this young man is correct. It is indeed heart disease, but certainly not a large-scale myocardial infarction. Using CPR could cause more harm under strong pressure. Damn, this youngster is something else. This lad really knows his stuff, even better than the director of Jiangzhou Hospital. No way, Crane is well known. How can a greenhorn be better? Didn't you hear old Clarence? He's an authority. If he says Crane misdiagnosed, it must be true. The discussions around caused Kevin's face to redden with embarrassment, feeling utterly humiliated. As the head of the emergency department at Jiangzhou Hospital, he had been outshone by a mere youth. Dayon said, Xiao Zhou, don't take it personally, the girl's condition is extremely rare. It's normal you didn't know. Dayon then reached out directly, bring me the acupuncture kit. A few accompanying staff immediately produced a leather acupuncture kit. Dayon took the kit, drew a silver needle, and without hesitation inserted it into the top of the girl's Baihui point. This action left everyone watching with their hearts pounding. How could they not fear puncturing the brain with such a long needle? Immediately after the insertion, the previously unresponsive girl trembled, her lips parted slightly, emitting a faint cry. Not surprising that great Dr. Clarence is amazing, much better than Crane. Just one needle, truly incredible. It's no wonder. Dayon hails from Jizhou, a descendant of Clarence Shizhen, the medical sage of the Ming dynasty. Do you know why he's named Jingjin? Why? Because he swore to surpass the medical sage Zhang Zhongjing and his ancestor Clarence Shizhen, hence his name. Otto frowned. The elder has some skill, yet not much. While Baihui point can help with shock, the issue isn't due to this. This approach would backfire. Xiao Zhou, she has a congenital heart condition. She likely went into shock due to extreme agitation earlier. Using CPR would exacerbate her condition. Now I will use acupuncture to promote blood circulation and hope to buy us 30 minutes. Old man, didn't expect you to have some skills, but if you proceed like this, she'll die. Otto couldn't help but speak up. Though he didn't know this person, he felt compelled to say something. His master always said saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Once he encountered this, he couldn't just stand by. If they followed the old man's method, she would surely perish. Haha, truly amusing. Are you younger than me? May I ask which prestigious medical school you graduated from? Medical school? Never attended. Learned a few tricks from my Asher in the countryside. Your Asher is famous? At least in our village. Interesting. So your Asher is from a village. And may I ask his name? Otto said seriously, Olaf. Haha. The young man laughed out loud. Olaf, I thought you were some legendary physician from ancient times. Turns out you're just a country quack. You're talking nonsense. Do you even understand medicine? I think you're just trying to make a scene. When Crane was helping, you did the same. Old Clarence is the renowned great doctor of Jiangzhou, yet you criticized him too. You're here to cause trouble, Philippe immediately retorted. His words resonated with many bystanders, mainly because Otto looked too young and dressed quite rural, making people look down on him. The train conductor also frowned and said, Kaler, please do not interfere with the professional's emergency treatment. Everyone, please don't gather around. Return to your seats. At this moment, Dayon also spoke up somewhat discontentedly. Basil, you seem to have some skills to recognize this isn't a myocardial infarction. It appears you have objections to my treatment? Why don't you share your thoughts? Otto stepped forward. Dr. Clarence, you indeed show some magnanimity, unlike that person beside you who has no real skill but acts high and mighty. As he spoke, Otto also moved to the girl's side, extending his hand to grasp her wrist. At this moment, her pulse was barely detectable, but as Otto's hand made contact, a thread of true energy flowed from his hand into her body. You got one point right. She has had heart disease since childhood, but it wasn't triggered by agitation. She has always harbored suppressed emotions, causing internal stasis of blood in her heart over time. Now, this stasis is blocking her heart meridian, leading to this state of apparent death. You intend to use the fire-burning mountain acupuncture technique to promote circulation, which will not work. The stasis obstruction would only increase her physical burden. I guarantee that if you continue with your needles, she will surely die. Indeed, you managed to see through that I plan to use the fire-burning mountain technique? Old Clarence's face showed appreciation. Such a young doctor with such profound medical skills naturally aroused his admiration for talent. But at this moment, Otto suddenly moved. With one motion, the girl, who was lying on the floor, was completely turned over, then placed face down. Otto's fingers pressed down on her coccyx, then the lumbar spine, back, and finally the cervical spine. Each press produced a crisp cracking sound from her body. Immediately afterward, Otto turned his fingers into palms and started slapping from the lower end of the girl's spine. Bang, bang, bang. 5 consecutive slaps followed. Beside him, Philippe immediately frowned and sneered. I wondered what was going on. You talk about not doing CPR, yet you start beating her yourself? Shut up. Kevin sternly reprimanded. Dayon's face also showed astonishment, murmuring, 9 heart-chasing sounds. This is actually the lost 9 heart-chasing sounds. Chapter 3, Hospital Reporting. Kevin stood beside Dayon, listening intently. He was equally shocked by the stunned look on Dayon's face. Who exactly was this young man that even old Clarence could be so amazed? Old Clarence, what is this 9 heartbeats? Dayon looked somewhat dazed. I only heard about it from my master. Back during the Andrew March, he was a military doctor. At one point, some leaders had prepared for their own funerals, but a soldier stood up and said they weren't dead. The soldier used this very technique called 9 heartbeats. Just as he was speaking, there came a cry. The pale woman who had seemed lifeless now showed signs of response. Otto knelt on one knee, with the girl sprawled over his leg. With a gurgle, she spat out a clump of black blood the size of a ping-pong ball. As she expelled the black blood, the unconscious girl opened her eyes, feeling a sensation in her chest and screamed instantly. Miss, don't scream. You suddenly fell just now, and almost didn't make it. If it weren't for this young man, you would have met death. This is Jiangzhou's miracle doctor, old Dayon, the train conductor introduced. Otto helped the girl to sit up. Miss, suffering from a congenital heart condition.